Okay, let me go to the track. I do this into a two-part. Like the first part is like the introduction, where I let out all the history that led me to this track, kind of, or at least to this point that I've come with my self image about my abilities and what I want to if I want to express something, or just create a vehicle that resonates. And this track that I decided to show, which I feel is right now the best I can do with Caustic. I've installed MPC software, but it doesn't run on my laptop for whatever reason. Probably license, even though it's a test version. But I'm still stuck to Caustic, and so natural. So I made it on this app, and I think I need a moment to get into the feelings, because I've listened to it before I decided to make this voice recording and this one will go alongside the song to describe something about this. I think I need a moment to recall something while I was listening to the song and what I want to say about it. It was an organic process, or I would say organic for lack of a better term, because at this point I've called every single one of my creative works an organic process. And it started when I did different tracks, and it's part of a large set of things that I doctor around, or add stuff and remove stuff. Usually this starts with one instrument that I add, and it defines the following interactions with the other instruments. I would say it's not really a lead instrument, but it's the first brush stroke, I would say, to a blind painting. It's a terrible example for me. I would have liked to describe it differently, but I've added drums for this particular one, I think, and then the other instruments I add more and more later, and then I start playing something freely when there's the drum, and then when there's the first synth. When I play the second synth, it feels like I'm part of this, like I'm adding stuff, like playing alongside a song, a song, and the following parts that I add in the following synths that I add, and they interact with the previous parts, and it becomes something that it assembles itself into something. and then I experiment with effects, and sometimes I add effects beforehand. So of course I add the distortion first to make it sound like an electric guitar and then oftentimes I realize I can't play chords, so I scratch that every single time, but I still come back to maybe this time I make it sound good, and I don't and then it begins to sound cheesy, and then I realize maybe I'm not about this right now, maybe I need to learn, or it's something that is not about what I want to do. Sounding like this is intentional, but it's not intentional. It's like I'm learning alongside the way, because I have ideas in my head, but I still can't fully turn it, because I realize let me tighten my shoelace. Wait a second. I'm walking through a giant field of wheat. It's green and it looks like grass. It looks so nice. I want, the environmental energy to resonate with me, so I can talk about this song in a different way, but it doesn't work. And maybe it does once I get the ball rolling. But the song, the track, I forgot where it was. It pulls itself together. I was at the guitar effects. Oh yeah, I skipped the guitar effects, and I said it's about I'm learning alongside. And then it was where I said I have visions in my mind, but I can't do it yet because I realize it fails at getting the colors of getting the because the structures of the song, the melodies that you play, I put to equivalent. I equate those to line work, and the specific sounds I equate to color, and it fails at picking up the proper color. The specific tone, having a melody play in my head in a very specific tone, and like I can't replicate. I open up the app and I start doing this, and it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I'm still not there, and the idea is gone. But it's not gone, but it's like frustrating, and I still have no outlook that I will. It's not rewarding. It doesn't feel good. And there are the people who are like, that's the stuff you have to power through, and show discipline, and shut the hell up, dude. If you can do it better, then do it better. Like, this is like condescending, self-discipline stuff. Maybe I will never be successful. Maybe I will fail at self-discipline. But to me right now, to my, from this hypothetical person's perspective, I don't have the self-discipline to now spend 30 minutes without any knowing, to pull my teeth out and get this first tone right of the image, of the idea I have in my mind, just to get this, let alone, getting in this app that doesn't even feel like it's, natural. And, there's also, you have to also consider there's a library of sounds that comes with each workstation, and this is not to sound like running away from the core issue, which is you can always I can always beat myself up, but to my own, I'd say it's not the right tool, it's not the right sound library. It's real good to have trained with it, and I've produced something that I listen to and I get goosebumps. So this song, this track, I think about at one point doing some singing, but not now. I feel like it doesn't fit together, at least not with Caustic, or at least not with this specific track that I've been working on, because I didn't do it with singing in mind, although it's like similar to maybe. Then I thought, okay, maybe I export it and then all different things, and I load it up to Audacity or another program, and I treat the melodies that I did, because the sequencer in the app Caustic is very clunky, and it isn't good to work with. It's very limiting. And the thing that I've assembled now and arranged, it started. Let me start from the middle. The previous step was a song that a track that I've worked on, that I call, that I've just given the kind of cheesy name Invincible, which is part of, Bend the Mirror. And it is part of a bigger group of tracks that all originated from one track that I started first, and every single one is an adjustment where I changed the effects, and where I added stuff and changed the arrangement, and I did snapshots of every single one, and I think I've now 100 versions of this one, 100 different versions, or 200. Let's say 100. I don't want to, disappoint somebody even has expectations. I mean, I have no audience, so this track has um, I think it would have been good to play it alongside, but I don't know how. No, I can put it on my headphones on my smartphone, and then I maybe can align. I don't want to put in too much effort. I just want to, say something and dump it onto YouTube. So, that track has let me just say, like, while I was working on this, I feel resonance, or it starts doing something, and I reflect upon what it might be or what it is, because this is that kind of a sign, or it makes, there's an ability in there that I can synthesize, as I'm exploring stuff blind. And the thing is, it's not a linear process, with the stuff with the birds. And I listen to the birds, and then having this realization that in the tones that they play and in their chirping is, without words, encoded literal emotion. And this empowering me that it's not just the lyrics that hold the emotional power, it's everything, it's in the notes themselves. So it's not just no longer just figuring out stuff blind. I have a well of stuff that, or a reference or framework from which now I can generate chord progressions that actually do something and are not just hit and miss. But it was no linear progression. It was doing something else, and it added something from the back, from the previous footprints. It revealed the previous footprints, I don't know how to describe it, but you know. And you know, as you go forward, you realize, you know, it's no linear path that you were looking at a linear path. It looked like a blind linear path, and then you realized you were walking laterally, and you're walking in a field of different functions and dynamics, and you uncover one dynamic, and you realize you didn't train the emotional power in chord progression. You were actually just generating a set of chord progressions, and with this new knowledge you can assess this set of chord progressions, and you can generate precisely new ones. And what you did was not the intention. What you did was, you know, something else, and it rearranges. You rearrange it into something else, and you don't have to go this path anymore, because it was not a linear path to begin with. There was that didn't work the way you set it into your mind. So this is how it works. It worked out when I then changed the first song, the previous version of the track that I've now decided to show. I made it. I've added an image of a balloon to the cover art or something. I mean, I did a photo, and I did a photo when I was riding my bike outside, and I just captured, you know, a moment where there was a hot air balloon just rising up. And like the last couple years, or like for a very long time, there was not a single hot air balloon that I ever saw here. And then suddenly, out of nothing, I just see this scene encircled in trees and branches and with golden light. And I've realized some of the musical details, or some of the parts of it. It has a similar energy of this vastness and just this balloon rising. It's unintentionally kind of did something where there's some form of an association that it's a descriptor. Sometimes, you know, how do you express certain characteristics of songs? And I remembered, you know, when the story about, you know, Rick Rubin, when he was working as a producer for, I don't know the band, but he sat down and they was talking about him. Like, he sits down and say, "This song makes me feel orange," and then it just moves away. And it's like, what the fuck did we pay you for? You're just saying us like this, like, what the hell does that even mean? And what the hell do you mean this makes you feel orange? It's like, what does this have to do with music? And when I had a different experience with I would say somebody who supposedly is a maniac, and I was telling him that I want to do stuff like David Lynch, and he was just explaining something to me. I feel like he's a performance artist. I still believe to this that he's a performance artist pretending to be a madman, because when I look at his eyes and, you know, the way his mannerisms work, it feels it's very convincing, but it feels tacked on. It feels like behind all this is but maybe I'm projecting. Maybe this guy's truly mad. But it's interesting because the thing that he spoke to me after I said David Lynch is kind of in a similar manner to how the stuff works. When David Lynch makes his movies and talks about his creativity, or talking about the elements that make up an emotionally moving something, whether it be picture or sound or stuff like this. And it's through kind of associations. And he was asking, I don't know what he said, but like I was supposed to tell him, what association I have with stuff like this, and I couldn't do it. And I said, you're not gonna be any creative person, like. And I felt like I got roasted by a madman about my creative potential. So yeah, this is the kind of stuff that the different experiences that I have that come together with when I listen to this track and I put on the image, the cover image, let's say, that accompanies the song. It's this. And with your emotions, when you hear the sounds, for example, what I heard with these birds, it's not just giving it a random label. It's literally sparks an emotion, and it doesn't have to be objectively true, because oftentimes art is about something, can be something about revealing something about yourself, as you do give descriptors about what you hear. Maybe it was that with that bird, when it felt like it was singing in a caring tone. But now onto this song, this track. I realize I'm just describing that, I'm just talking around the song because I don't know how to describe it. You just listen to it. I just say something I think related to that. I think this is not what I'm doing. I got some of a kind of a flashback, not really a flashback, because a memory came up about a memory came up which was me. I think it was very early childhood. I think I might have been 2 or 3 years old, and I remember stuff like this. And I had I had a toy car in my hand, and I was driving this toy car on the floor up in the second story of this apartment or this house my parents, me and my grandparents and some family which were good friends of my parents were living in. And up in the upper story there was this kind of living room, and my dad has had a giant audio, what's it called, your audio station there, and he was playing a song, and there was this girl singing, or this woman singing, and I think it was some form of electronic music. I don't know how to describe it, but just the experience was so, and it's like it was a soundtrack to this car driving on the floor, and it made me super because even back then, me as a 3-year-old child, this girl's voice really made me blush, and I was super awkward and feeling like so through the song, I don't know, and it did something. And I was thinking, when I do the Ornithopter presentation, I'm thinking about doing a product video, which is literally a soundtrack video, and using one of the tracks that I've did, because this track that I show, I literally thought I have a second one which sounds like it has this choppiness to it. I think I upload both, or I upload the one first, but I thought images came into my mind as the song was playing. how I show different parts of the Ornithopter in front of on the screen, basically on this video window that the person is supposed to see during this presentation. And this song becomes a soundtrack to this when you show literally now when I had my consultation with Adam Duff, he was like, when he was giving me, saying what I could possibly do with my ability to, and then he said as a non-option, just like as a fun, for fun, he say, maybe you can work in an advertising agency or something like this. But he meant it like, this is like selling myself, this is like not the kind of place, but now literally I'm imagining doing an advertising video for this thing. So, but the way I'm imagining is like, it's gonna be so, like, I have this vision right now and I want to do this. And it's gonna be as fucking heavy as, a Nine Inch Nails music video. That's my intention or my dream. But I'm not gonna say anything. I just have, like, I don't want to even describe it because I feel like I will just fuck something up somewhere emotionally. So, but here I am literally like thinking about, as my speaking about, like, I don't want to do product design, and then I decided to do my last semester project to make a literal advertising video as my product documentation. So here I am, like, the world wants me in advertising, so, but maybe it's the other way around. It's a music video where that but because I also remember, which moved me a lot, and I want to do something like this, when we first couple semesters and we were together as a class, the first 2 semesters, all the new students are in one class, and we were those other older girl in who studies with us, who already got an art degree, but she also wanted to study design, and she was like, a lot of people look up to her, especially my close friend Lena. Yeah. And yeah, with her, and kind of she asked me, like, she noticed, or she asked me, like, she knows that it moved me, and she is kind of picks up on stuff like this, and she gave me validation about this is what I want to do. It was this movie film class who did an kind of a showcase. There's this giant screen that was, it was an open place, with walls around, but and there was this cinema kind of screen that has, this blanket that has been put on there, and there was different film projects that have been showcased, and it was about sound. In this particular, it was about sound and film, sound and image. I just remember this. There was this. I don't know what it was. Was it a moving orb or something? There was this, this music in the background, and it showed imagery, and it enhanced. It made the effect of that image even stronger, and it was some abstract stuff, not this Squidward kind of thing, ein Hauch von Tull, not this kind of deal. It was filming different objects, and underlaying these objects to the different parts of the song, and there was one droning woo 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 woo, and it switched over to that to, I would say it was an orb or something, or a lamp. The camera was revolving around, and it made it feel so like not visceral, but it made it feel so like it made it super strong. And it's not the kind of stuff you see in advertising, because it's stuff that, you know, it burns itself into your memory, because it's a literal piece of art kind of deal. And I want to do something that's of this quality. And I have one friend who, you know, when I was starting, I was, you know, workaholic, and she's a workaholic like me. But, you know, I've burnt out kind of, and now, you know, I've spent approaching 2 years doing basically nothing, spending 9 months in Turkey, and now I'm here. More than a year passed, and I did nothing. I mean, of course, I did the Ornithopter, but I still feel like I do nothing, and I feel like, you know, I feel like the laziness label would now hit really home if somebody would say this. So, but this film, this is literally the characteristic of. It's exactly the same quality when I saw that soundtrack I say, when I saw the music video David Lynch did for Trent Reznor, for Nine Inch Nails, for the song that's called Came Back Haunted. It's in the exact same quality, and in the, you know, it goes into the exact same direction as that student project I saw in the first semesters with that you know, classmate of mine who had already an art degree, and she was asking me, like, she was acknowledging and affirming that, you know, this is stuff that, you know, I got moved by, and I want to do stuff like this. And I don't know what it is, but so the track that now I've made in combination now with the Ornithopter sculpture, now turning this into a music video, you know, product video kind of deal. Now I have the components to put them together into an actual thing. Now I have a vision, and I have the elements to fulfill the vision. The only thing that I have to do is now to reshape parts and fuse them together and listen to myself while I'm doing this. And yeah. I think when I do this, I will also, you know, speaking towards the 5 people on YouTube that subscribe to me, and potentially also all the other people that will come across. I will also show this on that platform later on, and maybe this channel will turn into a portfolio or of some sort. I don't know. I'm tired of predefining functions when I can barely maintain the standard. So changes. Yeah.